When dance experts and industry professionals discuss K-pop's expansion into global markets, Jungkook's name frequently surfaces as a benchmark of technical and performance excellence. The reason is not only tied to his visual appeal or vocal strength, but to the rare alignment between choreographic execution and live vocal stability. This dual mastery has consistently placed him in conversations beyond K-pop, especially within dance circles in the United States, where performers acknowledge the unusual difficulty of matching his level of synchronization between movement and singing. Dance, when executed at a professional level, is already a discipline requiring cardiovascular strength, core stability, and muscular coordination. Singing simultaneously introduces a competing demand on the diaphragm, lungs, and vocal cords. Most performers rely on heavy backing tracks to compensate for the inevitable vocal instability caused by movement. Jungkook, however, is widely documented singing live with minimal support during demanding choreographies. This is where the comparison between global choreography standards and Jungkook's delivery becomes significant. In American pop performances, choreographers often prioritize visual sharpness, but with the understanding that vocal delivery will be partially or fully assisted. Jungkook shifts the standard by sustaining near-studio vocal clarity while executing intricate dance sets. The pressure this creates for other performers, especially those not trained under K-pop's system of years-long daily rehearsals, makes it difficult to reach his level, even with significant practice. Choreographers worldwide note that Jungkook's dancing is not limited to replication of set pieces. His movements show precision in line, control of dynamics, and understanding of musicality. Unlike dancers who prioritize sharp execution at the expense of fluidity, Jungkook demonstrates both clarity and flow. This balance is rare and often emphasized in critiques by professional dance instructors. In practice, this means Jungkook does not only hit beats accurately, he transitions with intentional control, ensuring that momentum is not wasted. His awareness of rhythm is supported by vocal phrasing, meaning that his breathwork aligns seamlessly with both song tempo and physical motion. Choreographers analyzing his work often remark that he approaches movement like a trained dancer rather than a singer who dances. Global comparisons highlight stamina as one of the main gaps between Jungkook and many Western performers. US choreographers, when asked to break down his routines, emphasize the sustained energy he maintains throughout multi-minute performances without visible fatigue. In contrast, many pop singers in the US structure performances to allow vocal recovery by inserting breaks, audience interactions, or extended backing tracks. Jungkook's performances, however, often run with minimal breaks. His conditioning allows him to dance with high intensity across multiple numbers, a factor that leaves professional dancers acknowledging the unusual training threshold required to match him. Jungkook's repertoire spans hip-hop, contemporary, R, and based choreography, and even elements of freestyle. In American commercial dance, artists typically focus on one style that complements their brand image. Jungkook's ability to adapt to multiple styles while maintaining vocal performance adds a further layer of complexity. When transitioning from sharp, percussive hip-hop-based moves to smooth, flowing contemporary styles, his vocal control remains intact. This is a technical accomplishment because each style imposes different demands on posture, breathing, and body engagement. Many choreographers outside of K-pop's ecosystem find difficulty replicating this adaptability with simultaneous singing, making Jungkook's case an exception rather than a rule. At the core of the difficulty in matching Jungkook's performance lies the integration of vocal delivery with choreography. Most performers treat these as separate elements, rehearsing vocals in studio settings and dance on stage floors. Jungkook, however, rehearses both as a single unit, ensuring that movements do not disrupt vocal flow. This integration has been built from years of training under the K-pop idol system, where synchronization between voice and body is drilled into practice routines. The result is a performer who does not view singing and dancing as competing priorities, but as interdependent components of a unified performance. For choreographers, this creates a higher benchmark because replicating Jungkook's approach requires not only technical dance ability but also live vocal control developed under unique training conditions. Several American dance professionals have acknowledged the unusual difficulty in staging performances that require both full choreography and live vocals. The US pop industry has historically separated dance-heavy acts from vocally demanding ones, with few exceptions. Performers who focus heavily on choreography often rely on backing vocals, while those known for powerful live singing often reduce choreographic complexity. Jungkook, by contrast, merges both at levels not commonly expected in Western pop. This makes him a frequent point of study and comparison, as choreographers attempt to balance these elements for American stars but often conclude that such integration requires years of conditioning, not short-term coaching. The recognition of Jungkook's ability is not only about his individual talent, but about its influence on global expectations. As more audiences witness his performances through concerts, live broadcasts, and viral clips, the demand for comparable standards in other markets rises. American choreographers, who traditionally designed performances with more reliance on visuals and production effects, now face increased pressure to deliver routines where singing and dancing coexist at higher intensity. This shift has broader implications. It forces re-examination of training methods, rehearsal structures, and even casting choices. Some choreographers note that the Jungkook standard requires artists to begin simultaneous training at younger ages, which is not typical in the Western industry, where specialization comes later. In American pop, there are established figures known for high-energy choreography. Artists like Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, and more recently performers such as Dua Lipa or Normani integrate strong dance into their stage shows. However, the structure of their performances typically includes significant reliance on pre-recorded vocals or backing track. This practice is not necessarily a limitation, but a design choice based on market standards. American audiences historically accept performance structures where visual spectacle outweighs pure vocal delivery during dance-heavy numbers. Choreographers working with these artists balance intensity of movement with the knowledge that live singing will not be the main feature in those moments. When compared to Jungkook, the distinction lies in the expectation. While US performers may alternate between dance sections and vocal sections, Jungkook is trained to maintain both consistently, regardless of choreography density. This approach narrows the margin of error, since neither the dance nor the vocal line is sacrificed. On the other end of the spectrum are US artists primarily recognized for vocal power. Examples include Adele, Sam Smith, and Ariana Grande. Their shows focus on delivering live vocals with minimal choreographic complexity. Movements are typically limited to stage presence, hand gestures, or minimal walking patterns that do not compromise vocal delivery. Choreographers in these contexts design staging rather than dance routines. The focus is on vocal resonance and emotional impact, with backing dancers often carrying the visual energy. In direct contrast, Jungkook not only sustains strong live vocals, but also embodies choreographic leadership, frequently positioned at the center of formations and performing movements identical in intensity to professional dancers. This positioning highlights the unique performance structure in K-pop, where idols are required to do both simultaneously. American choreographers acknowledge that creating similar acts in the US would require either redesigning the industry's rehearsal systems or recruiting performers who have trained in parallel disciplines from adolescence. There are hybrid cases in the US, where artists attempt to balance both singing and dancing, with examples including Chris Brown, Usher, or Beyoncé. These artists demonstrate strong choreography while maintaining live vocal presence. However, even in these cases, industry observers note heavy use of vocal support during physically intense sections. Choreographers design breaks whether through dance interludes, audience engagement, or backing vocal emphasis to allow for vocal recovery. Jungkook's structure minimizes such breaks, sustaining continuous integration. This is why dance professionals comment that his balance remains unusually demanding, even compared to established US performers known for dance. The reason behind the gap in execution lies partly in training systems. K-pop idols, including Jungkook, enter training environments that integrate dance and vocal practice from early adolescence. Daily schedules involve synchronized rehearsal of full songs with choreography, prioritizing simultaneous delivery rather than isolated skill development. In contrast, US performers typically specialize. First, singers hone vocal techniques separately, while dancers refine choreography independently. Integration occurs later, often in the context of tour rehearsals. This late-stage integration leaves less time to condition breathing, posture, and vocal endurance for high-intensity dance. Jungkook's advantage is not accidental. It is the result of years where his training forced body and voice to operate as a single unit. Industry insiders note that such conditioning cannot be replicated quickly, which is why US choreographers openly admit the gap when analyzing his performances. One technical detail often overlooked in discussions is the role of breathing. To sustain vocal clarity during demanding dance, Jungkook employs breathing techniques aligned with both vocal phrasing and movement timing. For example, exhalation is often controlled during less intense choreographic moments, while inhalation is strategically aligned with transitions between movements. This technical mastery ensures that vocals remain stable despite cardiovascular strain. US choreographers, when working with pop stars, frequently design choreography around breath recovery rather than alongside vocal phrasing. Jungkook's approach reverses this logic. He integrates breathing as a shared resource between singing and dancing. The result is a performance where both elements coexist without compromise. Replicating this requires advanced vocal pedagogy combined with dance conditioning, something rarely prioritized in Western pop training. The rehearsal structures in K-pop also explain the performance gap. Korean entertainment companies schedule months of group rehearsals where idols run full songs repeatedly with choreography, often in mirrored studios with vocal coaches present. This environment forces synchronization not only between group members but also between body and voice. US rehearsals, particularly for major tours, often separate dance and vocal preparation. Singers rehearse vocals in studios, while dancers refine choreography with choreographers. Integration occurs in later stages, with less emphasis on perfect alignment between both. By the time Jungkook enters live stages, he has run full integrated rehearsals dozens, if not hundreds, of times. For US performers, integrated run-throughs are far fewer, making it difficult to achieve the same consistency.